Where are you heading?
Just looking for a place to make a video.
That'd be Rumble. Next town over. I'll give you a ride. That's Rumble over there. As the law of YouTube, Kenny, don't come back.
I can't just shoot a video somewhere around here.
We don't take kindly to gun tubers.
Dispatch, that vet you sent out is back.
Bring him in.
Sheriff said roll him up.
Yeah, this on him.
Soldier boy stinks. Why don't you clean him up?
No!
Everything all right in there? Why would God make someone like Blue?
God didn't make Blue. YouTube did.
Who the f are you?
This guy's been through more psychological damage in the comment sections than you'll ever know. But he just keeps coming and coming.
Oh, why doesn't he just start a new channel?
You're already on it. Big welcome back to my entire USO family, wherever in the world you may be. Your boy Blue here, coming to you live once again from behind enemy lines. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for jumping back in again. Hope you enjoyed that funny intro as much as we enjoy making them. I don't know who that's for, you guys or us guys, because we have a pretty good laugh the entire time. We're ramping up to the table talk, which is where we're at now. You might notice, if you're very keen to things going on around you, that somebody's standing beside me. This fine specimen is Joe. Joe is, well, I'm gonna let Joe introduce himself and just say what you're doing currently for the Navy and what you do for us.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Blue. Thanks for having me out here. So yeah, I am a Navy SERE instructor, right? So I teach our fine young men and women how to survive out in the wild behind enemy lines.
Nice, which we find ourselves constantly on this channel. Now, I had Joe and some of his cohorts come out, and they did a class for US Overwatch. So we were out for a couple of days learning some basic land nav survival stuff, things you would cover in the SERE school. If you're not familiar with what SERE is, it's survive, evade, resist, escape, correct?
Correct,
And
yes.
y'all know I'm terrible with acronyms, but I remember that one for a very specific reason. Whenever we met with Joe and Scott and the rest of the boys, really had a great rapport with them, and I was like, dude, I'd love to share some of your wealth of knowledge with our audience out there in YouTube, because we have a much broader reach. And so hopefully Joe will be kind enough to return again and help us out with future episodes, but we kind of went back and forth and decided the first one we would cover is the first thing we noticed about you guys when y'all showed up to teach. Everybody put on their fixed blade.
Absolutely.
And started getting into the class. So to us, we call that a sign. So why the importance of that being the first thing y'all throw on?
Well, I mean, the importance of having a knife, I mean, that goes back, you know, really to the age of dawn, right?
Cool.
You need to be able to really protect yourself, and then also, you know, a way to provide, you know, and prepare your meals, right? So protection, your food, your shelter, your fire, that sort of thing.
Cool. One interesting thing that I had totally forgotten from my days of like trying to survive, which at this age, every day I'm trying to freaking survive. But whenever you were in the class, you were talking about your edged weapon or your knife, and you were saying the knife's nice and sharp, and if you're doing something silly, to dull it, you might be making the wrong move.
Yeah.
Can we touch on that? I just don't want to make sure we don't forget it in the...
No, absolutely, right? So my motto is, you know, a good knife is a sharp knife. If it's not sharp, then it's not a knife, right? It's not cutting anything. So I like to have a few different knives, like when I'm doing certain tasks, right? So I got like a bush knife, you know, heavy duty knife, and then you'll have a more intricate knife, maybe getting something smaller, you know, that you can do more intricate things with. So that way you're not dulling out a solid utility knife.
That's brilliant. So you don't use your knife just to open every Amazon package like
Absolutely
most
not.
of us, because then they get sticky. All right. Now I see, and I'm sure the audience sees, we have a wide variety here. So Joe and I both brought out a few of our favorites. I've kind of been in the game for about 30 years, and I've collected some, most of which, you know, they normally do regrettably get used to open Amazon packages. But every now and then you get to use it for at least something decent. So is there an area, because you're the expert, where we should start at for the audience? Maybe they're just getting into this. This is their first dabble into survival, maybe the first knife or a couple of knives they may want to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, you can get into just like your real basic 3.5-inch blade knife, you know, fixed blade knife, something that's just very useful, and it's not over the top where you're getting into something, you know, something like this, you know, right? This is a lot harder to carry every day, you know.
Well, I think that one was made in China, so you don't want to carry that one every day. Funny story. The reason we brought this out is I bought it for my kid to play with, and then realized that's really long, and if he tripped and fell on it, I'd look like a bad parent.
Exactly.
But it kind of harkened back to my first survival knife that I received from my dad way back in the day. Yeah, I think it was made of aluminum probably, because the blade, you could bend it and bend it back into shape. But it had the screw off top with the hollow handle, compass, and all that trash in it. So anyway, I saw this at Big Five, just thought it reminded me of my first, gave it to my kid. Subsequently took it away. I'll give it back to him when he's a little bit older. Didn't get Dad of the Year that year.
That's also a solid knife though.
Yeah.
Right? And you can teach them how to wield it.
True. That's the beginning. Very hard to sharpen. But now I saw this one when you came out to teach. So this is your primary belt knife. Winkler?
Correct, yes, it's Winkler.
Yeah, awesome. So I've been to their shop there in Boone, North Carolina. I'll be back shortly. So Mr. Bruce, please hold some things for me. We're coming through. And yeah, so I actually have a very similar one. Mine is the Winkler Hunter. I think this was their most traditional blade that they make. But do you want to kind of explain what makes a good like general field knife for survival?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll touch on kind of like some things that I look for. You know, I'm looking for a solid utility knife with a good composition of materials, maybe like a S30V. And so we don't need to get in the weeds with that, but you're talking alloys, right? Something that's going to hold an edge retention, right? I don't want a cheap alloy that's going to get really dull really fast.
Gotcha. Now, I know from Winkler, you know, we went, got a small veterans discount, which was super nice of those guys. However, they're still expensive.
Yes.
So some guys are fortunate to get them as gifts from graduation of certain schools, stuff of that nature. So that's awesome. But now, if you didn't have the money for that, and I know a lot of like young service members or young folks that watch our channel, we have a pretty broad reach. Just to be honest, the first survival school I went through with a K-bar. Now, not this K-bar. Somebody stole it out of the barracks, gear adrift, if you know what I mean. But is this a decent enough survival knife to carry you through?
Yeah, absolutely. So most of the K-bars that you see that are on the market, you can buy them from like your local Big Five, Walmart, that sort of thing, made from D2 tool steel, right? They have really solid edge retention, and they're very useful, and they have really thick spine, right? It's not going to bend. They're not going to be too brittle.
And it also, now these have the full tang as well, because it goes all the way through. Excellent. You do want to look for that. It just adds a little more rigidity to the K-bar. I actually like the new one with this polymer sheath. The old leather one's pretty sick. I got one at home, but it's hanging on the wall.
From Nam?
Yeah. I was in north of Da Nang your ass. Anyway, and then another thing I noticed, you threw out a couple of Leatherman, and this is a really old one I've had for a while. I always end up attaching the Leatherman to my knife sheath. That way, if I lose it, I lose everything and just die. So it's probably not the best idea, but it's what I do. So I do see you include those. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So as a fan, right, with the Leathermans, I love my Leathermans.
Yeah.
I'll carry this one here. This is just one of the leather and mutts, they call it. And I keep this kind of in my, like, my go pack, as you will.
Mm-hmm.
But believe it or not, I probably, yep, sure do. I have the same Leatherman on my gun belt.
Outstanding.
So I'm a big fan. They have your knives, your saws, and screwdrivers, that sort of thing.
Cool. And I see also you have a few different things. You want to touch on each one of those just so
Yeah.
curious eyes are wondering?
Yeah, absolutely, right? So, let's say we've got our belt knife, we got a solid utility knife, whatever it be. But hey, like I touched on, like I don't want to use my knife to cut down tree branches, right? Or maybe get kindling. That's what we'd use it for. So I'd pack like a small saw. That way I can use that to get my kindling, that sort of thing, maybe make a shelter. Then moving down the line, we got some different hatchets. If you have the room, the space, that sort of thing, maybe we can touch on those. You can carry that with you.
Okay, so for me personally, if you're familiar with the channel, I almost always carry a Tomahawk on me. I love the capabilities that it gives me. Now, this one is from Half Face Blades. Big shout out to Biddo. Like we always say, support local. But this was more so laid out as a fighting Tomahawk. Yeah. It does have the pry on the end, so I can get leverage to pop open doors. I really like these for close quarters combat, things of that nature. It's just my personality. And also, I remember the old MacV SOG guys, they were saying that these were a lot more capable for silent sentry removal than the knife. I can't speak on that. However, they seemed like they would stand up to the job. Whereas, do you want to say how these are a little bit different from what people are used to seeing in the movies and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, it would all depend on, probably situational, right?
Right.
Like the weight and space constraints, this would probably be a solid, really a good tool to have. You can put this on your kit, that sort of thing. Whereas, we're getting to something like this, it's going to be a little bit harder to wield and maybe throw in a bag.
Right.
So, but if I have the space, and maybe I'm not behind enemy lines so much or that thing, we can bring this. Whereas, like if the space constraints, that sort of thing, and maybe be a little bit more stealthy, then this is like the way to go.
Yeah. All right. And I actually, so this is Scott's, another SERE instructor, came out. Made me feel good though, because I have the exact same one, so I didn't even have to unpack mine. And this is the Columbia River Knife and Tool Company. And this is their Tomahawk. I think it's a Coogan or something like that, Scott. Chugan. If I could read, I would probably have a better job than YouTube. But anyway, so on this one, you can remove it from the handle, and it allows you to kind of pack it a little bit lighter and then put it back together to do work. Also, if you broke the handle out in the field, you could expediently whittle yourself up another one. I was telling Scott, actually, when I bought it, I just went ahead and bought the spare handle because I'm just that lucky of a guy. But I like that this one on the end has the hammerhead versus the spike on this one. And I know driving in tent stakes, stuff like that, this really helps out, and still an effective tool for chopping and things of that nature.
Absolutely, and especially when it comes to space too, right? Easily broken down, store that in a little pack.
Cool. So I see you also have some sharpening instruments, and I know you've already kind of touched on it. A dull knife is useless, so you want a sharp knife. Yeah. And are these your preferred? Because everybody's always wondering, what should I get? So what do you say?
Oh yeah, I mean, well, you can kind of really get into the weeds when it comes to knife sharpening. There's multiple ways to skin that cat. I like to go for the tried and true method. You can see this thing's got some use to it.
A little bit.
It's just a little fine stone. I will keep this in my kit, my little abdomen pouch. Mm-hmm. This goes with me everywhere. Real quick, I can pull it out. I can kind of get a little edge going. I can re-clean it up, good to go.
while we were doing the intro that took forever. Y'all don't understand. That 3 minutes of enjoyment is like a half a day for us. But while we were doing that, you could hear them in the background. Maybe if you rewind, listen to that section very closely, you can hear Joe and Scott out there sharpening the Tomahawks and their knives, getting ready to either skin us or film the episode. So what about these other two there?
Yeah, right. So then you kind of step it up. This is a little multi-tool piece one here by the Smith, and you got a fine hone stone, and then on the bottom side here you can get a ceramic stick to kind of do it, and then it's got one of those, I don't even know what you call them, but those, you can just run the blade through it.
That thing.
That thing works just as well. This kind of just goes into like a bigger like deployment pack out box.
Cool.
And then you can kind of get into the same thing, different idea. You have like a fine side and a coarse side.
Oh, sick.
Little and a leather strap. So remember, like, you know, back in the barber.
No, I've got a leather strap.
Yeah, so you go to barber shop,
yeah.
you can clean it up. There you go.
I sharpen up my knife and shave every day.
Yep.
And clearly I don't know what I'm doing. So the other thing that I had, I see you got trauma shears, and we carry those. I don't think I have those cool. Those are Raptors. So trauma shears. Is there any additional use? Because I know we carry just the regular ones on the first aid IFAC kits. Does that have any special survival use? Or?
Well, I mean, when it comes to survival, every tool should have multi-use, right? So, you know, don't ever pack a tool that is meant for one specific task, right? So always have a plan to use that tool multiple different ways. And such as with this one here, you have a nice little seatbelt cutter. There's a unit of measurement on the side here. And then there's also, you can cut like wire or, you know, some sort of metal, like little strips out of it. Yeah.
All right, cool. I know I gifted my brother-in-law one. He's a former Army dog, and became a nurse anesthetist. So Jay, I see you, brother. I think he lost it though. Oh. Brother-in-law. So the last one I think is the cold steel. I saw this one was issued to some. I think it was some of the Marine Recon guys had the SRK as their survival rescue knife. This one's in blaze orange, so clearly this wasn't what was issued, but we're probably going to use this as a giveaway on the channel here shortly. And I was going to give it to my brother-in-law thinking he wouldn't lose it, but now I think it'd be better to give it to someone else. Kidding. But what are your thoughts on this one, because it says survival rescue knife? Think it would stand up?
Well, I mean, I would say that it would, right? So I mean, it's a nice, really sturdy knife. Probably goes all the way through to the back here. Probably edge retention would be actually kind of nice too. It's probably made out of D2 if I would look on the box somewhere. Probably. And you probably wouldn't lose this due to the fact that it's hunter orange.
Maybe.
You know, so.
I don't know, unless you're colorblind like we are.
In a survival situation,
we only see green.
You drop this in the dirt or drop any of these ones in the dirt, chance of you losing it, probably pretty high.
Yeah, that's why you dummy cord everything to you.
Yeah.
All right, then the last one. This is turning into Judge My Knife. This one I've had for a long time. It's actually made the appearance in many a video that we have. I think everybody on our staff has been killed by this at one point or another. But it's this crazy thing I bought a long time ago. But it actually has held up really well. Believe it or not, I've actually like chopped limbs with it and done all kind of trash. And I just resharpen it and it's good to go again. You want to take a stab at that one?
Well, I'm sure it's been stabbed plenty of times.
Only in the Wild West.
But this is a good solid knife. So you can see here stamped at the bottom. It's made out of the 440 stainless, which is a really good utilitarian metal, just as the same as D2. So this one here has got high corrosion resistance, which would be really nice in the environments. And I love the rubber texture, right?
Yeah.
So this would definitely be like a go-to bush knife if I was going to go out there splitting wood, chopping, limbs maybe. But yeah, this is a solid knife.
And I bought it a while back, so it definitely was not expensive because I had no money back in the day. But yeah, she's held the test of time. So is the leather sheath, which is incredibly surprising. Yeah. I thought that bad boy would have fallen apart.
Well, if you care for it well enough, they last.
There you go. And then the last one, this is the one when I did a little bit of research back in the day. The Mora Garberg is considered by many survivalist experts as the best survival knife out there. for bushcraft and stuff like that. Do you have any experience on this one or any opinions?
I have not had experience with this one, but I can tell just by the look of it, it's full tang with the rubber, made in Sweden, so it's probably high quality.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, and these, so Mora, Garberg, I'll put the link down in the description. A lot of people that ask me, this is a new one I got because I always end up losing stuff. I got so much trash. This is a miniature version. I don't know the exact nomenclature of this one. But if you're looking for a good one that's supposedly really substantial for batoning and stuff like that, then that might be something to look at. And I think it comes in under $100, as many of these other ones are over that, with the exception of the K-bar. All right, so that's kind of going to bring us to the end of our table talk. And as we always do around here, we like 2-3 things to be done. First, if you enjoyed the content, liking the guest instructors, spitting out some knowledge that most people aren't able to get a hold of, make sure you do the sub, like, and while you're doing it, let's go for the big trifecta. Drop down in the comments your first knife, your first memory. Like I said, mine was a aluminum survival knife, cheap as dirt, however, has held a big place in my heart since day one. I can still feel it in my hand, even at this age. And the last thing we do, Nikki's back there laughing so hard, I'm afraid he's gonna shake the camera because he thinks I'm his granddad. But the last thing we always do is we offer our visiting guest to drop a little golden nugget of wisdom for a viewing audience. You being a career Navy guy, now you're lead SERE instructor, you got to have a wealth of knowledge. And if you could just sprinkle just some of that on them, I know they would appreciate it as much as I would. I learned something from every guest.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, going back to my first knife, I do want to sprinkle that.
Oh yeah.
Old timer.
Oh yeah.
Had that gifted down, still have it to this day. So if
yeah.
you're looking for your first knife, can't go wrong with an old timer.
Old timers.
And then a little wisdom, when it comes to survival, right, you got to be a jack of all trades, right? So you can't be just good at one thing. When it comes to survival, you got to be good, you know, multifaceted, right? So the bushcraft, you know, medicine, you know, how to make things, improvise, you know, wield your knife, wield your tools. So just get good at everything, right? Just a little bit.
Outstanding. All right, guys. So with that, if you enjoyed this presentation as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you, make sure you've done all the 3. You can also go over to our biggest sponsor's website, usoverwatch.com, where if you're in the local area, you can actually join us for training with us and Joe and his staff and all of our wonderful staff out here. We do multiple different types classes. Everything's listed on the website. Also, a big way to support all of us is to purchase some of our swag. As you can see, Joe and I traded jerseys earlier as a sign of mutual respect while on the survival range. And with that, this is Blue, Joe, on behalf of the USO crew, and we are out.